Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make. The choices other people make. Why we choose to ignore the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, addiction, mental illness, and much more. What role do they play in relationships? Follow me each week as we discuss these topics with anonymous guests and experts to hopefully become better humans, resulting in better choices. Like I say, been there, still doing that. Now on to the show. Greetings, Anonymous Andrew with you here on another YouTube rant. So it is Memorial Day weekend, and it is the official beginning of summer. Especially down by where I live, by the beach, right outside New York City. I live in an area where it's well known for its beaches up and down both coasts. There's the North Coast and the South Coast. Wow, there's a lot to cover here. So I did get a chance to get out and play tennis with a very beautiful woman who is off limits because she's married. But it's still great fun to play tennis with a very attractive woman. We actually played 2 days. We played yesterday and today, Saturday and today. Today is Sunday, the middle of Memorial Day weekend. So that was fun. Anyway, tomorrow I have a couple of things going on. But I did not get to go down to the beach. And I'll give you two reasons why. While I could have jumped on my bike and went down to the boardwalk, the temperature here where I am, inland, they forecast, let's say 75 to 78, 80 degrees. And if you drive 10 miles from the beach, yeah, it's 80 degrees. But where I am, like literally 6 blocks, 7 blocks from the beach, and there's a little bridge in between, but it's half a mile. It's 10 degrees cooler, and that's just by my house. Then when you get down to the actual boardwalk and you get the wind off the ocean, it can drop into the low 60s. So it was a little nippy. Sunny, beautiful day. Can't complain about that, but it's not quite going down to the beach weather. So, and I've been bitching and moaning for the past, I don't know, if you've been listening to the podcast, it's been one big bitch moan fest about going down to the beach and being with somebody. And listen, I got friends who would be happy to come down to the beach. But it's not, well, that will happen. And I actually had a friend coming down this weekend. It just did not work out. We had a Memorial Day weekend in the area where I live. They put on a there's an airport not too far from us, which doubles as a military airport, and they put on an air show at one of the large beaches. It's a state park beach, and they put on an air show for 2 days, and it draws hundreds of thousands of people. It's free. It's just that you got to get into the park, and you got to find a place to park. And once you're there, you're basically stuck for the whole day because you can't. The traffic is just horrendous. But where this beach is located, it's kind of in the middle of west and east. So anybody coming from the east trying to come to the west, you're going to hit a lot of traffic and vice versa. So the person that I had coming down to hang out with me yesterday, actually, um, it would have taken her 2 hours to get here. So we decided to wait till tomorrow. And now tomorrow, while the weather is supposed to be, I think 75, 80, it's going to be windy. It's going to be, down by the beach, when you get those dust off the ocean, it's just not fun. So anyway, I'm ranting. Here we go. Number one, I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that I met a woman online and I played the Superman role. Haven't learned, that saying, been there, still doing that. I'm still doing that. This woman turned out to be a scammer. And think she was in cahoots with somebody else. She gave me this long story about that she's being stalked by her ex-boyfriend and her phone was hacked and yada yada yada. And of course, it's amazing how we have anybody, if you have an intellectual side, like you're intelligent, you're rational, you're logical, you got street smarts, whatever. You know what to do and what not to do and how to be cautious. I'm going to out myself. This is what happens to me. You put a damsel in distress in front of me, and if you add the 9 or 10 points on a scale of 1 to 10 to her value, the intellect goes right out the window. All caution goes out the window. And this is a problem for me. I see a woman in distress, and without checking the facts, without verifying, or just taking the necessary precautions, I brought this woman down to my home, and we used my Wi-Fi to fix her phone. I have a VPN, and so I knew my equipment was safe. Well, if you know how VPNs work, that's not necessarily the case, but here's where the dumb thing I did. I gave her my Wi-Fi password. Literally, I gave it to her. I read it off to her so she can punch it into her phone. And I think I told this story on my podcast. 2 days later, she shows up at my house while I'm at work, and my landlord comes to me and tells me that the same car was sitting in front of the house. So she came down on a Sunday, and like Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, my landlord comes to me and says, the same woman that was here on Sunday, because he saw us coming in and out of the house, and he saw her go out and smoke. And that's another thing. I don't know why I was hanging out with a smoker. I do not smoke. He saw her, and he saw her car. So she came back a couple of days later, and I'm on the first floor of a house, and he's on the second floor, so he can see the whole street from his second floor window. And he was sitting there watching TV, I guess, or whatever he was doing, and he sees this. Now, she's got a very unique car, okay? It's a luxury brand. You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't know why I'm trying to hide her anonymity. She had a Q50 Infinity, and it was black, but there was something special about her grille, the front of her car. It was painted black. I had a Q50 for 4 years. I leased one. Whether the car is gray, whether it's red, blue, black, the front grill is chrome, and this was painted black. And he saw that color on Sunday, and he said the same car that was there Tuesday had the same paint job. And she sat in the car, he said, for maybe 25, 30 minutes, sitting in front of the house. What? I don't know what she was doing, but she didn't come down to just borrow my Wi-Fi. So there was some malicious intent. And this is somebody I met on one of the dating apps. So, and here's the good news is that not only did well, let me finish the story. Subsequently, that week, everything in my house started not working. All right. The Alexas were hacked. The Ring cameras were hacked. A couple of strange things happening with my bank account. Although there was no money missing, I was getting strange emails from my bank saying your debit card was removed from Apple Pay, and whatever. I started getting emails, and I would go to the bank and say, hey, I didn't ask for this, and I didn't request this. And so we're not sure what her intent was, but it was not, it was, as I call it, malintent. She had malicious intent. So I've been tightening up security. I think I spoke about this on my last YouTube. So that's done. All right. She's been blocked. I think I even reported her on the app. I will not make that mistake again. I don't care if I don't care how beautiful she is. I don't care how in distress she is. We will not be bringing her back to the house. And that was my dumb mistake. Not, even if she was here and I didn't verbally give her my password, I should have taken her phone and typed in the password. But even then, she would have had access to the Wi-Fi. That was just a no-no. The cable service that I have, there used to be a guest on your Wi-Fi. So you'd have a Wi-Fi, and then if you had family coming in from out of town or friends and they wanted to use the Wi-Fi, they could use the guest portion of the Wi-Fi. And that would have either a different password and or you could revoke that. Okay. My cable provider decided to do away with that. And they have something called smart Wi-Fi, where it's 2G and 5G combined. And what it does is it checks all your devices and sees which device uses the most bandwidth and which device uses the internet the most, and it will push the bandwidth towards that device. So whether it's a Ring cam, one of my Alexas, the cell phone, the iMac that I'm on, whatever. So it does its own thing and gives the amount of bandwidth that it thinks the device needs. So I have a lot less control over the Wi-Fi. So anyway, I ended up changing all the passwords on everything. And now everything seems to be quiet. There hasn't been any shenanigans going on. But that was a couple of weeks ago. So back to what I was trying to get at before was that the two dating apps that I'm on that were started 3 months ago, they got 3 months, 6 months, year, and lifetime subscriptions. Well, obviously I'm not paying for a lifetime and I'm not paying for a year. These things are, they go from, hey, if you do 3 months, it's $49. If you do 6 months, it's only $29 a month. So, but I don't want to be on a dating app for 6 months. I don't want to pay $200. And that's just for one app. So if you go on multiple apps and you sign up from 3 or 6 months, this runs in the like upwards of $500 to go on a dating app or several dating apps. So I'm letting the two that I have expire. Okay, the two, they end literally in the next week, sometime in June. Um, June first or second week in June, they will expire, and I have not. I shut off the renewal process. Not to mention that there was nothing going on there anyway. I even for research purposes, even just to go out, meet a woman, and take her out for a date, and come back and talk to you guys about it, and say, "Hey, I went on a date last night." This is part of my podcast research. Is I want to go on dates, see how they go, and come back and talk about it. I even have on two of my profiles that I'm a podcaster. I say, they even say, what do you do on your downtime? Or what do you do for what's a hobby of yours? Or blah, blah, blah. And I wrote down, I'm a podcaster. So I may or may not tell the woman that I'm on a date with that the date that we're on is going to be spoken about. I don't, as long as I don't use her name, I don't think it matters. I am looking at so once these two dating apps expire, I will be off all dating apps. All right. So I have been on, and this is in no order and no chronological period. Let's just say in the last 8 years of my sobriety, I have been on Our Time, eHarmony, Match, Bumble, and a fifth one, and I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. 5 dating apps. Obviously, was one of them is how I met my last girlfriend, and I won't say much more about that. There is a new one out there. Or I shouldn't say it's new. It's new for me. I think it's been around for a while. I am not going to tell you which one it is, not because I don't trust my audience. I don't trust the people who might be listening to me who want to, because I think they're trolling me, and I think that I know for sure that they're putting up fake profiles or this woman from a couple of weeks ago. Listen, getting out there on a podcast and talking about your ex-girlfriend and opening up your life like this is inviting trolls, is inviting stalkers and trolls and people who may or may not want to disrupt your life. And I get that. And I'm taking a risk by doing this, but I don't care. It's a risk. Well, I if anything, I invite it as long as I don't get hacked and everything stolen, identity and all that stuff. But I got some cybersecurity people coming in. We're gonna lock this place down. And listen, I know if they can hack the Pentagon and they can hack, gosh, every week you just read about people getting hacked all the time. Corporations, not people, banks, government agencies, right by where I live. One of the counties that I live next to, I'm not in, but live next to, they got hacked, and they got that ransomware. So nobody's ever secure. I could hire a professional cybersecurity company here and lock this down, spend $2,000 or $5,000, and in the end, if a hacker wants to get in, they're going to get in. It's you could do all the lockdowns you want. They're going to get in. I don't know how I got off this topic. I am going on another dating app. I am researching the next one. I think I found the one that I want to go on. Of course, they have the 3, 6 month, 12-month thing. I got to decide which one I want to do. I'm not if you've been listening to the podcast, especially the one with Nancy Perpall, the retired divorce attorney who has turned author, she called me out and she just said, look, you're not ready to date or get into a relationship or either. And she's right. But this is, I think, why I popped on today. Here it is, Sunday, the middle of Memorial Day weekend. And I spent most of this weekend either playing tennis and then doing I cleaned my house today. I cleaned. It needed it, but it wasn't what I had planned for Sunday and Memorial Day weekend. I did the laundry. I did the food shopping. I went to one of my meetings. But I would have liked to have gone down to the beach, even though it was not quite the warm weather I was hoping for. So anyway, I'm also working on the podcast all weekend. I'm looking to do more editing and make it more pleasant. I have 30 episodes now, and while I got the content up there, and I have a lot more content coming, it's not, let's say, edited in the way that I wanted to edit it. So I've been downloading some music and bumpers, and I'll be spending the rest of today and tomorrow. Although I'm going to see one of my sons tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. So, all right, just wanted to give you an update. This is what I do. It's a long weekend. My last podcast episode was released on Friday. There won't be another one until Tuesday, but I figured I'd jump on and say hello and hope you guys are enjoying your Memorial Day weekend. As always, if you like what you hear on here, but more specifically on my podcast, on whatever platform you're on, okay, if you're on Spotify, I think, and Apple are the two that allow you to leave reviews, please leave a review. 5 stars would be nice, but whatever you think I deserve. This is something new for me. I'm starting it off, although I've been in the radio world many years ago. Podcasting is something new. I'm doing my best. I'm producing by myself. So whatever number of stars you think I deserve, it's more the content that I'm presenting to you. If you like the content, if you like the interviews, if you like the research that I'm doing, I have a lot of good stuff up there about narcissism. I did some really good research on that, and I got, I think, 3 experts to come on, different perspectives of narcissism. Okay, narcissism comes in many different forms. It's on a spectrum. You got narcissistic personality disorder. You got the narcissistic spectrum, and then, of course, I was told that we are all narcissists in some form, but very low on the spectrum. We all are. But we're not narcissists with the intent to hurt people or to take advantage of people. And if that sounds confusing, go listen to the podcast because they explain it a lot better than I do. So, all right. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. A lot more to come. Please leave me a review. Give me as many stars and some sort of review. And if there's stuff you don't like, or if you think I'm doing something wrong, or you don't like the sound of my voice, or you don't like some of the interviews, tell me. This is for you guys. It's helping me process, but yeah, it's for you guys. So if I'm not giving you what you want to hear, I want to hear about it. And if you don't want to leave a review, email me or send me a DM on Instagram, something. Just please reach out to me. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think it'd be best that I don't. It does concern my ex, but I think today I'm going to keep that to myself. Um, some things are better left unsaid. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I popped on here with the intent of talking about a particular issue, and the more I talked about other things, I'm thinking, no, not a good idea. Okay, Anonymous Andrew podcast available on all platforms, and of course, this is on YouTube. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm not giving a lot of effort into YouTube right now. I'm kind of busy with the podcast, but one of these days when I can either hire somebody or get somebody to come on with me and help me produce, schedule, research guests, and then actually do help me with the content and putting up videos and putting up promotions and advertising. I'm going to do all of that, but I can't do it all myself with the full-time job. So I take my weekends and I sit here and I do all my work on the weekends, and it's gratifying. I like it, but there's only so much I can do by myself. So hopefully this podcast will get to the point where I'll either start making some revenue and I can bring somebody else on board. I did do an interview last week with somebody who may become let's say a part-time co-host. He may come on. I'm not going to mention who it is yet because he and I haven't worked out the details, but there was somebody I interviewed, and this person may be an ideal partner, but he can't devote 2 times a week to do like a co-host. And we haven't figured out the logistics yet, but I may have a co-host at some point, or a cameo co-host, somebody that you'll know. He'll introduce himself, and he and I may dive into some issues ourselves, either with each other or bring in a third guest or an expert or somebody. He's an expert in a field that he's in. I think it'll be released. You'll figure it out. You'll know who it is in a couple of weeks. I'm just not mentioning his name yet because he and I haven't worked out the details, so I don't want to put him on the spot. Okay, time for me to shut up. Anonymous Andrew saying, if you're going to choose, please choose wisely. Until next time.